Hey Collective, welcome back. I hope you're having a good day today. So you feel like you're hitting the same wall over and over again. Maybe it's a pattern of difficult bosses that seems to magically follow you from job to job. A cycle of financial struggle that never quite lets up. Or just this nagging feeling of being held back, no matter how hard you push. It's frustrating, exhausting, and feels deeply personal, almost like some invisible force is dead set on blocking your every move. In astrology, this feeling of being stuck in a rerun of your least favorite show has a name: a Saturn karmic loop. It's this idea that we're repeating lessons, often from a past life, until we finally get what the universe is trying to teach us. Now, before you get on your "I don't believe in astrology" bullshit soapbox, I'm going to ask you to just listen with an open mind. See if any of it resonates with your life or your life struggles so far. Zoom out, way out. And not believing in astrology or astronomy, the study of the universe, planets, and stars, is just wild to me. Considering we're all on one of those planets, it would be ignorant to think the others don't affect ours or our lives on it. No? And anyway, Saturn isn't trying to punish you. It's trying to promote you. Saturn is called the great teacher of the zodiac for a reason. I want to help you spot the patterns, the signs you're in a karmic loop, so you can finally understand where they come from, face the lessons, and break free for good. So friends, if you're ready to stop hitting a wall and start building a door, stick around. Before we get into the 5 signs, let's geek out a little bit and get clear on who Saturn is in the grand cosmic play of your life. So, it's story time. In astrology, Saturn wears many hats. The great teacher, the Lord of time, and most importantly, the Lord of karma. This planet is all about structure, discipline, responsibility, and the kind of rewards you can only get through sheer persistence. Its reputation often gets a bad rap. People see it as this gloomy force of restriction, delays, and hardship. But that view misses the whole point of what Saturn is doing for your soul's evolution. Think of Saturn less like a cosmic cop and more like a master craftsman, with your life as the raw material. A craftsman has to apply pressure, make precise cuts, and chip away at everything that isn't essential to reveal the masterpiece inside. Sure, the process isn't always comfortable, but it's what's needed to create something that lasts. Saturn's lessons work the exact same way. The restrictions it brings aren't there to stop you. They're there to force you to build stronger foundations. The delays aren't denials. They're invitations to slow down and refine your approach with patience and integrity. These lessons are often tied to karma, which isn't about being punished for past wrongs. It's just the law of cause and effect, playing out across lifetimes. Where Saturn sits in your birth chart points to the karmic homework your soul signed up for in this life, which often shows up as the unconscious patterns that create the same old challenges. A major time these karmic loops get cranked up to 11 is your Saturn return, which is around ages 28 to 30 and again around 58 to 60. This is when Saturn in the sky returns to the exact spot it was when you were born, hitting you with a cosmic final exam on everything you were supposed to have learned for the past 30 years. It's a powerful invitation into your next level of maturity. Recognizing these 5 signs is your first step to consciously working with this process instead of feeling like its victim. When you see the patterns, you can stop fighting Saturn's pressure and start using it. You can be the student who aces the test rather than the one who has to repeat the class year after year. First up, and one of the most common signs you're in a Saturn loop, is having a persistent, recurring problem with authority figures. Does it feel like no matter where you work, you end up with a difficult boss, a critical mentor, or a rigid superior? Maybe you struggle with bigger structures, like the government, institutions, or even a controlling parent who still has a restrictive grip on your life. You feel constantly misunderstood, unfairly judged, micromanaged, or just blocked by people in power. This isn't just a streak of bad luck. It's a classic Saturn pattern. So, where does it come from? Karmically, this is all about Saturn's territory, structure, hierarchy, rules, and father figures. This theme is especially strong if you have Saturn in your 10th house of career or in the sign of Capricorn. This loop often points back to a past life where you had a messed up relationship with power. Maybe you were an authority figure who abused your power, and now karma is having you experience the other side. Or you could have been a total rebel who rejected all structure and responsibility, and now your soul is being forced to learn how to operate within a system. This loop is a direct test of your relationship with mastery and your own inner authority. So how do you fix it? The solution starts with a huge shift in perspective. The universe isn't sending you a parade of bad bosses. It's pushing you to become your own authority. Saturn's lesson here isn't about submitting. It's about sovereignty. It's asking you to build such a rock-solid sense of self-respect that the opinions of external bosses lose their sting. The way out is to cultivate unwavering integrity. When you operate from a place of quiet competence and unshakable ethics, you start commanding respect naturally, instead of trying to demand it through rebellion or trying to earn it through fear. The job is to master your craft, to become so good at what you do and so solid in who you are that you're beyond criticism. When you do that, the karmic need for someone to constantly test your discipline dissolves, because you've finally learned to discipline yourself. You don't just solve your boss problem, you step into your own power. The second sign that Saturn's karmic hand is at work is a perpetual scarcity mindset. This is way more than just being frugal. It's a chronic, bone-deep feeling that there is never enough. This fear can seep into every corner of your life. It might look like constant anxiety about money, even when you're doing okay. It can feel like you never have enough time, resources, love, or energy. You might work incredibly hard, putting in the hours and making all the right choices, but you still feel like you're one paycheck away from disaster, haunted by a fear of loss or lack. This isn't just financial planning. It's an emotional prison of not enoughness. The karmic root here gets to one of Saturn's core lessons: value, security, and the material world. This is often a big theme for those with Saturn in the second house of resources, the 8th house of shared wealth, or the earth signs like Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The past life story usually involves extremes. You could have had a life of extreme poverty or starvation, where the trauma of lack got burned into your soul's memory. Or you could have been on the other end, excessively materialistic, hoarding wealth, and tying your entire identity to what you owned. Step back. Either of these ringing true for how you're currently living? If so, you'll suffer the opposite lesson next lifetime. You need to learn how to balance. Either way, your soul didn't learn the lesson of true internal security. Now, Saturn is recreating that pressure to teach you that your worth is not your net worth. And true abundance is a state of mind, not a number in a bank account. The way out requires you to consciously shift your focus from what you can get to what you can build inside yourself. Saturn is asking you to build your security from the inside out. There are two parts to this. First, you have to embrace Saturn's demand for discipline in the real world. Get your house in order. Make a budget, manage your time with intention, and respect the resources you do have. This shows the universe you can be trusted with more. Second, and most importantly, you have to do the spiritual work of detaching your self-worth from what you have. This means practicing gratitude, being mindful, and defining your value by your character and resilience. Saturn isn't trying to deprive you. It's trying to show you what's truly valuable. And the paradox is, once you finally feel secure without needing all the external stuff, Saturn, the Lord of Karma, often rewards you with the very thing you stopped chasing. Real, lasting, hard-earned stability. Trust. It did for me. I wouldn't be speaking to you about any of this if I didn't experience it firsthand. The third sign you're in a Saturn loop is a deep, paralyzing fear of being seen, which loves to disguise itself as perfectionism. This isn't just about having high standards. It's a fear so big, it stops you from even starting. Do you have a project you've been dreaming about for years, but have never touched because you're waiting for the perfect time? Do you have crippling imposter syndrome, totally convinced you're a fraud who's about to be exposed? This pattern shows up as a fear of putting yourself out there, whether it's launching that business, sharing your art, or just speaking up in a meeting. You hide your light, not out of modesty, but out of a terror of being judged, criticized, or failing. This procrastination as perfectionism is a signature Saturn test. Karmically, this pattern is all about lessons of self-expression and your right to take up space. It's often linked to Saturn in the first house of identity, the fifth house of creativity, or in signs like Leo or Virgo. The past life backstory here usually involves a major wound related to being visible. Maybe you were publicly shamed or punished for speaking your truth, or took a huge risk and failed so spectacularly that your soul carried forward the belief that it's just safer to stay small and invisible. Now, Saturn is serving you this fear again and again, not to torture you, but to test your courage. So what's the solution? You have to embrace one of Saturn's greatest truths. Mastery is born from persistence and a mountain of mistakes, not perfection. In Saturn's eyes, the only true failure is not enough trying. To break this loop, you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. The key is to take small, disciplined, consistent steps. Commit to showing up imperfectly. Write 1 page. Paint for 10 minutes. Speak up for 30 seconds. The goal isn't a masterpiece on day 1. The goal is to build the muscle of resilience. Each time you act, despite the fear, you're rewiring your karmic contract. You're teaching your soul that your worth isn't based on applause or criticism, but on your own courage. Saturn doesn't reward flawlessness. It rewards effort and the quiet dignity of showing up. As you build this track record of imperfect action, the fear starts to lose its power, replaced by the quiet confidence that only comes from experience. Before we talk about the last 2 signs, if these patterns are pinging your intuition about your own life, hit like and subscribe for me, so we can keep getting to the root of these cycles and continue to grow and evolve together. Okay, the 4th sign of a Saturn loop shows up in your connections. A recurring pattern of difficult relationships or a deep, painful sense of isolation. Do you keep attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable, critical, controlling, or way older and more of an authority figure than a partner? Or maybe the one who can't commit, keeping everyone at a safe distance behind a wall they can't get through? This pattern can also just feel like a profound loneliness that's there even when you're in a crowd. You might feel fundamentally separate, misunderstood, or like true, easy connection is for other people, just not for you. This cycle of painful partnership or stark isolation is one of Saturn's most personal classrooms. The karmic root here is tied to lessons of commitment, responsibility, and emotional maturity in partnership. This is a classic theme for Saturn in the 7th house of marriage, the 4th house of emotional foundations, or in signs like Libra and Cancer. The past life story often involves broken promises, a failure to honor your word, or an emotional coldness that hurts others. Or it could be that you were the one who was abandoned or betrayed, and your soul carried forward a deep fear that connection always leads to pain. Saturn is now presenting you this loop to teach you the true meaning of responsible love, which includes boundaries, integrity, and mutual respect. Those periods of isolation aren't a punishment, they're a training ground to teach you how to be your own source of stability. The key here is to stop looking for a partner to save you from your loneliness and start mastering the art of being with yourself. This is about becoming the partner to yourself that you wish you had. It's about learning to self-parent, meet your own emotional needs, and build a foundation of self-love so solid, it's unshakable. The work involves setting and enforcing healthy boundaries and learning to communicate your needs clearly. The path out is to forgive the past, your mistakes and others, but not forget the lesson. The goal is to build relationships from a place of wholeness, not neediness. When you learn to be a solid, reliable, and loving presence for yourself, you break the pattern. You start attracting people who mirror your newfound maturity, and you build connections based not on karmic debt, but on genuine, respectful partnership. Okay, the 5th and final sign is that pervasive, heavy feeling of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. This isn't just being responsible. It's a profound sense of duty and guilt that feels totally inescapable. Do you feel older than your years, burdened by worries that don't even feel like they're yours? Are you the person everyone relies on, the one who cleans up every mess and shoulders responsibility for your family and friends until you're completely exhausted? This pattern often comes with a constant low-grade guilt, a feeling that you're never doing enough, or that if something goes wrong, it's somehow your fault. You find it almost impossible to experience simple joy or playfulness because the voice of duty is always yelling. This crushing obligation is a clear signal of a deep Saturn lesson. So where does this karmic pattern come from? It's a hallmark of a powerful Saturn in a chart, especially in the 12th house of hidden burdens, or if it's tied to Cancer or Capricorn. The past life story usually involves a major imbalance of responsibility. It could have come from a life where you neglected your duties or abandoned your commitments, causing harm through carelessness. Now, your soul is trying to rebalance the scales by overcorrecting, taking on way too much as a form of cosmic payback. Or the root could be the opposite. You lived a life so defined by sacrifice that your soul never learned about freedom, joy, and healthy self-interest. The loop is repeating to force you, finally, to learn the difference between what is truly yours to carry and what is not. The solution lies in consciously defining the boundaries of your duty. Saturn isn't asking you to abandon your responsibilities, but to handle them with wisdom. Your task is to separate your true commitments from the inherited guilt you've taken on. A powerful first step is to do an audit of your responsibilities. Ask yourself, is this truly mine to do, or am I acting out of guilt? Another crucial practice is to unapologetically schedule time for unproductive joy, play, and rest. This isn't selfish, it's a required part of breaking this karmic cycle. Mastering this lesson means achieving balanced ambition, being a reliable and honorable person without sacrificing your own happiness. It's about honoring your commitments with a light and a willing heart, not a heavy and resentful one. By doing this, you release the karmic debt and step into a new reality where duty and joy can finally coexist. These 5 signs, the boss problems, the scarcity mindset, the fear of failure, the tough relationships, and the weight of guilt. It's pretty clear they aren't just random misfortunes. They're all different faces of the same wise and demanding teacher, Saturn. Just recognizing your specific pattern is the first and most powerful step you can take to break free. These are not life sentences. They're cosmic invitations to step into a higher level of self-mastery. The key to graduating from Saturn school is to stop fighting the lessons and start embracing the curriculum. Cultivate discipline, not as a punishment, but as an act of self-love. Practice patience, knowing that anything worthwhile takes time, and anything worth doing is worth doing right. Act with integrity, and build structure, so everything you love and worked so hard for has a solid foundation to stand on. Saturn's restrictions aren't walls. They're the framework for a life of substance and meaning. And the rewards Saturn gives, they're not just fleeting. They're the most lasting gifts you can get. Deep self-respect, unshakable confidence, and real achievements that stand the test of time. By facing your karmic loop head-on, you're not just solving a problem, you're claiming your power. I hope this lit up some light bulbs and brought you some clarity today. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. And until next time, friends, keep healing. See ya.